Hello, and welcome to another update video about ETH. So ETH is now in the midst of resistance, and it would be ideal to see a bit of a sell reaction from this region. The short-term trend is still up, so at present I haven't seen any reaction, but the wave count is now pretty full. So from an Elliott Wave point of view, it would be ideal to start to see some kind of a reaction here in this C wave to the upside. So basically, maybe first of all for the context, the base case is still that we are in a wave 2 correction in an overall uptrend. If the overall uptrend is continuing, then we should move up in a third wave. So maybe we are already in the third wave. I mean, I cannot rule out that the overall correction is finished. The trend line did hold, but if this is really a wave 2, then ideally we would like to see a deeper pullback. Now, always remember what I say basically in nearly every video at the moment is that pullbacks, corrections in uptrends, they can be extremely shallow, especially in a bullish market, okay? So you need to make sure that anyway you are happy with your position in general, okay? And that applies to Bitcoin, Ethereum, any altcoins. You need to be happy that you are positioned adequately, and that should be your base foundation, core position or hodl portfolio. And then of course you can trade around it, and then maybe it's worth, even in a bullish market, just to grid a little bit, scale in when the price drops, scale out when the price increases, because corrections, I mean, they can be very deep, especially wave 2, but in a bullish market, they can also be very shallow. There is no minimum requirement for a wave 2. Yes, it should be a 3-wave move and ideally reach the 38.2 fib level, but it's not unheard of to see very, very shallow wave 2 corrections. So always be aware of that. But it still doesn't look quite finished to me. Nevertheless, the trend is short-term trend is up, but ideally I'd like to see that C wave to the downside for basically a perfect structure. So far it looks pretty good. We have A wave down, we have that B wave that I've highlighted from the first day of this correction, that this would be the ideal structure. If you're aware of or about Elliott Wave, then having a nice A and a healthy B is good, and then we can calculate the target for the C wave once we have a top in place of B. We always want to be able to recognize ideally the B wave. Those are the ideal structures. Resistance isn't even broken, so resistance is at $2,346. We might have to look at a high B wave if that resistance doesn't stop the price. The resistance is just the standard retracement zone. It's not an invalidation point for the current scenario. Very important, yeah. I specifically want to mention again the potential for a high B wave in any situation, especially in corrections that are a wave 4. Here we have a wave 2, so the potential for a high B wave is a little lower, but still, if there is a bullish market environment, B waves can overshoot also in a wave 2. And I mean, looking at the microstructure, so now that we've established the key parameters, by the way, key support is 1676. So that's the level against which I generally focus on higher in the market, the level against which I want to be positioned on the long side. Below that level, to be positioned on the long side gets more risky. But until then, the trend is up. So the daily trend is always more important here than the short-term pullback, So, this is just, again, a pullback in an uptrend. At least that's how I see it. So looking at the micro structure then, in this C wave, by the way, I can change the color of this. So looking at the microstructure, I would look at this as a 1-2 setup here. This was probably a 3, then a 4, and here the wave 5. So that we've got 5 waves up in wave C of B. So technically that means it could be finished at any time, at any point. If after this pullback we see if next we see a corrective pullback, that might be an indication that we're actually going higher. Okay, so what we want to do, we want to analyze the next pullback to get some clarity, because if this is the top of wave B, then the move down should be impulsive. And it should also be nearly over this move up. Surely 2,303 is the next level, and then 2,346. But if we're already in the fifth wave, it indicates that, yeah, you know, maybe the top is here nearly in. But don't treat micro counting as predictive. It just tells us we now need to be watching, and a break below what I have labeled here as wave 4 low, which is at 2,248, would indicate that a top of some sorts is in place. Okay, that's my update about ETH. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.